take shows like The X Factor, take shows like so many of them now I can't, The Voice, all these type of shows. Listen, in theory they sound like a good idea, but ultimately it's nothing to do with the artist, it's actually to do with the show, TV ratings, and the real stars are the judges. And you know, I think for a period of time the music scene became quite diluted. Like I remember as a kid growing up, to have a number one single was a fantastic thing. You know, for a band, you know, if you played in a band, your dream was to have a number one single and to be successful in music. But unfortunately what these shows, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, what they did more or less was they turned the music scene into like a Saturday night entertainment show.
You know, a couple of years back when I was 14, 15, there was the Christine Lawn just up the road, and you know, all my friends and like big huge groups of us, which is like when there was one of these gigs on, we went to it and there was no kind of other question about it. And I don't think that culture is quite there of just going to gigs anymore.
I'm in an original band myself, and it is really hard to get out there and, you know, become known as an original music. I mean, cover bands, everyone knows cover bands because they play the songs you know, whereas when you write your own music it's harder to get it out there. And the reason I'm so excited about being a part of this is because I'm helping another band or another solo artist or a singer-songwriter or whatever it may be to get their music out there.
We are taking 100 bands from Cork and all over Ireland, and we're bringing them down to Cork for the 29th of August for a one-day event that will rival any festival that's going on in Cork or Ireland throughout the year.
The biggest thing about anything and anything you do with arts is changing how people think about stuff. This is going to change how people think about original music.
100/1 is a ludicrous, crazy idea which I wouldn't recommend to anyone and tried to talk Pierce out of doing. And now I'm helping him do it. So I can do that one again.
He came into me one day and he was like, I have an idea, G. Yeah. And I was like, okay, hit me. Originally it was 100 bands, and he was like, 100 bands over one night across the city. And I just looked at him and went, and how do you think the both of us, because there's only two of us in the company, well there's three now, but I was like, how do you think the two of us are going to do that? But we get a load of help, like, it'll be grand.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Pierce McCarthy.
I got involved with 101 when Pierce McCarthy approached me after a gig I was running with the UCC Live Music Society.
Well, I've known Pierce McCarthy now about going on 5 years nearly. He manages my band Lenoco.
I remember Pierce when I started doing like years ago, 2 or 3 years ago when I started doing my event. Pierce talked about this with me.
And he threw the idea at me one day and I just said, yes, I want to be a part of this.
And to be part of this is just everything I wanted to do. So for me to be part of this is a great honour, and I have a huge amount of respect for Pierce because he's one of the few people I genuinely gets regional music in Cork City. So to be part of it just is what I'm all about, you know.
So far, it's literally only, I'd say, just a month that this has been going on, and so far, everything has been going on swimmingly.
It's getting busy real quick. Shit's getting busy, it's getting real.
It's a big undertaking.
It's going to be manic.
It would be amazing if it was pulled off. I really, really believe that it could be incredible if it's pulled off. So one of my biggest worries would be getting the funding for it.
So I'm really hung up on this whole money thing. Really hung up on it. We've got 60 bands from Cork and 40 bands from outside, yeah? We get all the Cork bands free. Worst case scenario, which is what we're looking at for budget, is 4. So that's what we're looking at for budgeting. We pay every band that comes from outside.
That's not that bad. That's actually not that bad.
Right now it is, because we know what happens.
Right now we've nothing. We're running it on nothing. Like, one of the lads inside in the meeting earlier was kind of, you know, saying, listen, I kind of really worry about the whole funding thing. And I get that, I understand his worry, but it's okay, it'll all work out. You know, I just know it will.
We've got all the band, well no, we've got about half of the bands on board now. We've got a lot of applications in the past 2 weeks, which is excellent. We've got all the venues. But the biggest challenge is going to be the night itself, the running around, the making sure that every band goes on time and that, you know, everything works equipment-wise and, you know, everyone arrives basically. Sound checks, the whole lot, making sure, you know, the bands get something to eat, the whole thing, you know, there's a lot that goes into the organisation, and yeah, the main night itself I think will be the biggest challenge.
I can hear music clapping. Can you hear clapping? The evening trail is kind of just starting around now. We're looking forward to that. We're going to be running around all the venues to try and take in and sample kind of some of the atmosphere in the pubs. That's basically it, really. You know, just making sure everything's kind of running as smoothly as it possibly can run.
David, you're always a bit busy. Can I help you with something?
Yeah, we have a few niggly things we've been dealing with, but you know, it's a part and parcel of it all.
How are you feeling about it so far?
Excited, nervous, want to cry, want to jump up and down. Every emotion you could possibly feel is running through my body right now. So, where are you going?
You're on your own.
I'm going to head back down and I'm going to check in the castle inn, and then I'm going to check the porter house. I'm going to check BDS and Victorstown first, and then I'll go to the porter house.
Through mistakes we made, there was no equipment for one venue.
Sarah, what? I'm trying to stop getting the venue pulled here.
And the owner, who was quite peeved about it, and quite rightfully so, was on the verge of pulling it, but one of the 96Over1 team went down and kind of bought us about an hour.
It's already over there, and now they're saying unless we see.
Do you want to talk to him, because you know details more than I do?
Okay. Get back up.
No.
I'll have to talk to Pierce about this, to be honest, because I don't even know. I was just told by the venue you haven't got any here, so I just assumed it was yourself. Yeah, no, that's fine.
You're here. Thanks very much. No, so.
Keep breathing.
Yeah, once we get this sorted, we'll be okay.
The tents are going to go to the wood first.
We can't have them in there because.
And you know, if it wasn't for the Japans, who, you know, happily came out of the venue that they were originally meant to be in, and they brought all the equipment that was needed down, and we got a PA system sorted.
So we're putting the equipment from the foam into the half door.
And then in the end, that venue was a dinger of a venue. There was a band from Limerick, they played there called Little Tents, who were, you know, they're a young band, but they're a really, really good band, and they've so much potential. And they were literally out on the street, because as you know, that street there, French Church Street, it's just all restaurants, and they were literally out in the street grabbing people and dragging them in, and it worked. The owner was delighted that she hadn't pulled it in the end, as were we.
Okay, so now we're going to the porter house. Don't even know if there's a volunteer down there. If it's not, we have to be back there at 10 o'clock. So we're going to be trying to be a preacher to 20 to 10 to move gear, and then be back to the porter house to introduce acts, and then run again. But it'll work. We'll get there. Okay. Have they what? A guitar amp for the brew, is it?
We were missing a guitar and a bass amp, and thankfully it was the last band that were going on that needed it, and one of the bands I manage, Audible Joes, were playing at Cypress Avenue, and as it turned out they finished at about 20 to 11, quarter to 11.
The Joes are just finished. He's grabbing the bass amp from them, and he's getting it up to you, because you don't need it till 11, is it?
And Alex and Mick, literally a guitar amp and a bass amp in their hands, and they ran from Cypress Avenue as much as you can run, holding these big heavy amps, and they ran up to the brew bar and saved the day, really. You know, it just kind of, I suppose it justified it all for me about what amazing people you have on the original scene, that they kind of bought into what we were trying to do, and they believed in it too, and they kind of, you know, went over and above the call of duty to make sure that stuff happened.
Pierce, right, our Cypress Avenue is sorted, Thomond Bar is sorted.
BDSM is 2 days, Pierce is
BDSM sorted, Half Door is sorted, Thomond is sorted, Cypress Avenue is sorted.
Brew Bar is getting sorted. Are those lads going for equipment? Yeah, there's lads getting
okay, her venue, Oliver Plunkett, double booked, it's later now, is it?
Oh yeah, the Dodgy Few are closing there at 1 o'clock.
Perfect, okay, yeah, I actually
I'm feeling a bit better now. Stress levels have been kind of going through the roof. I don't think my blood pressure any good. I don't think my doctor would be too pleased with me now, but do you know what, it's our first year and this is part and parcel of it, so do you know what, I'm actually quite mellow and quite relaxed.
I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
We actually did it. That was, I always remember we all went because of changes of venues. We were all in the Oliver Plunkett because there was a very last band that ran, a band from Dublin called the Dodgy Few, and that's where we kind of all ultimately ended up going to. And I just remember everybody just walking around, everybody was smiling, everybody was hugging each other, and everybody just kept saying, we've done this. Will there be another? Yes, there will be. 96 over 1 weekend, though. Maybe make it a little bit easier on ourselves. It'll be Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th of August next year.